If you've been a part of a sporting group or a community organisation or even a church, you'll know the impact of those who think firstly of others.
To live is Christ, to die is gain.
G'day everyone, Brian here. In the mid-80s, I played in a football team. I wasn't real good, and a crushing knee injury brought to an end a fairly mediocre football career. But in my years at that club, we were asked to vote on the Club Man of the Year. And the Club Man of the Year wasn't the best footballer, wasn't necessarily the leading goal kicker, and wasn't necessarily the captain. But that bloke who just embodied what it was to be a part of the club. And I remember the guy that I awarded my vote to. Bruce Hallett was his name. Because Bruce had looked out for me after I'd had my knee injury. I remember my first game back feeling very tentative and very scared. And Bruce was wise enough to say to me, perhaps he recognised I wasn't actually very good. But he had the wisdom to say to me, it's not worth breaking your leg and risking your leg for this level of football. He was right. But it was also the way that he carried himself, the way that he reached out to others to help people improve in their football playing that I appreciated. He was a man who would think of others. In the words that Paul is writing to the Philippian church, he is urging this. Here is what verses 3 and 4 have to say. But remember, they don't stand on their own. They're great verses on their own. But if you take them on their own, you're ripping them out of the foundation. You're taking them away from something that provides the whole picture. So hear these words, but remember, this isn't everything to say about everything. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Again, Paul is putting that negative thing first. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, and you probably know people who really do look only to their own interests. In the story of 1 Samuel, we read about a bloke named Nabal who was like that. He looked only to his own interests, not to others. But he had a humble and gracious wife who did care for others. And that saved Nabal's neck in more ways than he realised. And so Paul gives then the positive aspect, but look also to the interests of others. How do you do that? We will learn that we do that by following the example of Jesus. He is the one who has set the way. He is the one who is our model. He is the one who has done it for us so that we can now do that for others. I hope that you today can take the opportunity to consider someone else's interests and not just your own. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.